What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode. Slight recap, I suppose, if maybe you didn't somehow watch the first episode, which I recommend you go back. I go over our early game plans on how we want to run the promotion for the start, how we're booking, the weight classes and stuff we're introducing, how the global verse works a little bit. But to start off this episode, we are going to try and run through as many shows as we can. I'm going to keep it real compact, less talking, just more going through shows. But to start off, we got Travis Scott tested positive for PEDS following GFC 3, which I don't really care, to be honest. I just thought I'd share it in case there's any huge Travis Jones fans watching and wonder why he's not going to be in the coming shows. He sucks anyway. He was probably going to lose 3 or 4 fights in a row and then get cut anyway. It's just a shame we couldn't get to use and abuse him a bit longer. He's out for a year. Will I keep him on the payroll? Probably, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Why not? And we can kill him when he comes back. But moving on, let's just jump straight into the GFC 4 and get this episode rolling. Not a bad show here to start off the episode. We have the Punisher. Smasher, sorry, not the Punisher, gosh. We got a fantastic rated debut fight up against 1-0 Tony Mccall, which should be a pretty good fight. We also got Abdul Bier, who comes straight in to make his debut at mid-level regional. He's one of the few guys that starts with some name value in the British Isles early on in the game, so he makes his debut. Hoping he wins. We also got the big man himself, in my eyes, the best fighter in the game. Fun fact about Matthew Dean: out of the 2 saves I've done in Global Verse, I have never ever had Matthew Dean lose, not even close to losing. I believe in my last playthrough he retired. I believe it was 21-0, 22-0, and he made 18 straight title defences. So it puts it into small perspective of just how absolute crazy the guy is. He's a monster. And there's a lot of more guys debuting here, so let's get straight into it. Alright, we're starting off Frank analysis in the big bopper, Barry Strachan. Barry on his debut. Frank's trying to bounce back after losing his debut. And it's Frank who gets the good rated fight and the TKO strike win. Barry loses, but decent win for Frank. None of these guys will really amass too much, so we're not going to pay too much attention to this one. Pretty one-sided fight. Gunnar Nelson finally makes his debut. Comes in 28 years old in the game, which isn't great, but this should be a pretty easy win for him. Yep, Swedish Superman. Average rating, which isn't great, but he gets the job done. This should be a pretty easy win for Robin, to be honest. He's a pretty average wrestler, but Naoki, the striker, is always going to lose. Oh wow, he doesn't. He knocks him out. I was about to say he's always going to lose against a wrestler, but Robin's obviously not took the fight to the ground. And in my eyes, a hugely surprising upset, to be honest. Not a great start for Robin, who we would be able to push much further than we could with Naoki. That's a pretty huge loss actually for him. Okay, unlike the pretty big surprise last card, we should definitely not get any surprises with this one. Koji should be losing this to Jerezo, who's a pretty decent jiu-jitsu fighter. Yeah, just under 2 minutes. Jerezo's pretty well rounded too, which makes him pretty dangerous, even though he comes in at 28. I'm sure he'll do some decent enough work in middleweight compared to Koji, so he starts off as he means to go on. We're pretty much adding insult to injury here, as big favourite Gustavo wants to mark off GFC with a win, and it looks like we're probably handing Setio a second loss. Yeah, great rated as well. Round 2 TKO strike finish. We're going to be able to push Batista way further than Setio anyway, so this works out. Pretty interesting fight as well. This is the first fight. I think we have a few booked like this where it's 2 guys that are on it who lost their debuts Both striker stand-up guys. I think Geoff will win this though. If I'm being honest, yeah. It does go the whole distance though, which is a bit of a surprise. From two guys who like to throw punches, but it's a second loss for Sakamoto, who is now having the same fate as Setio. But a good comeback win for Cahill. We've still not had any call-outs. I'm hoping that starts soon. We had so many on the last playthrough. I really want the same fate again this time round. Yeah, the less said about this one, the better. Yeah. I mean, 35 seconds is all it took. Matthew Dean is going to be running through so many people early game. Well, he'll run through everyone. There's just nothing I can do there. I can't book him smart, especially early on when it doesn't matter so much. But yeah, Matthew Dean is the winner. Is something we're going to hear a lot. He's going to be reigning over the middleweight division. Well, it just shows how much we've came already in this short time, because Jasper was the first guy to come in with any name value, and he's not even main eventing or co-main eventing this card, and we're kind of throwing him to the dogs to try and bounce Mark Cohen back after he lost his debut. Yeah, we didn't really give Jasper a kind matchup to let him get back on winning ways, or get to winning ways, I should say. It's a pretty easy first round submission finish for Mark. To mark his first win in GFC, and Jasper's just, yeah, slowly fading into the darkness at this point, to be honest. Oh, okay. After just talking about callouts, we have our first ever callout, and it's George Lorenti calls it, which is actually solid. That would be a good fight. Cohen would win because of his superior ground game, and George doesn't really have any. But George is very, very good power puncher, so it would for that sake, it would make it very interesting. So I'm glad finally the callouts have started already. Alright, co-main event. We kind of did on this fight what we should have probably tried to do better with Jasper on his debut, where Abdul, who comes in, the hometown boy, he comes in mid-level regional to start the game, and we give him a very kind opponent here that he should be able to overcome. Thank God he did. This will help boost him up even more. He's not great, to be honest. I mean, he's not going to go far in light heavyweight division, but he's a key player name value wise for the division early on, and we'll try and book him smart in that case. But a good rated co-main event, and this is just the start, so he handles the interview great and creating nice buzz, which we like to see. Alright, and to mark off the first show of the episode, we got Tony the Spider, the favourite. Both guys won their debuts. We obviously remember Surakov. He was the first guy to get a fantastic rated fight. So let's see if we can have the same fate this time around. Tony's the huge favourite though, and he prevails. Good rated. Knockout punch 20 seconds into round 2. We go 2-0 for Tony the Spider, who I'm quite a big fan of. He's not great, but his whole look and the way he carries himself, I like him a lot. 34% as well on commercial, so we'll take popularity again, which is nice. The gate 22,000, solid as well. We only got one great fight, but popularity increases slowly but surely. I guess it's not going up a whole lot, but there's not really much we can do. We'll give fight of the night to Batista, since he was the only one to get great. And submission. Let's give submission to let's give it to Mark. I was trying to give it to the person who had the toughest opponent, but a lot of the fights on this card were pretty one-sided. And KO, sure. In fact, yeah, give it to Tony, why not? Not a bad start. Plus 18,000 as well at the gate. Abdul, of course, he won, so he gets 100% win bonus. So he takes away quite a lot of money, I guess, when you consider 1989, Dawn at MMA, taking away £3,000. But not a bad start. Let's keep the ball rolling. Alright, it's show time. Before we get on with the card, we have Tony Mccall, who main evented and won on the last card, is dealing with legal trouble for the next month, so we can't book him or use him. Apparently he was causing a public disturbance, you know, being a bad boy. So he's in legal troubles right now. And also, speaking of troubles, Sigma, the first AI company, have joined the game, which it couldn't be any worse for us because Sigma is one of the only companies that's based in like Europe / the UK. So they can only sign fighters that are based where my fighters are based. And they've already signed up like half my roster. So as much as we didn't really make this playthrough, like we didn't really give ourselves any challenge, you know, we can sign anyone from anywhere, blah blah blah. We're going to have to deal with Sigma also booking and using our fighters for the time being, and we'll just have to try and get to high level regional as quick as we can. And we start GFC with a debuting Boniek being handed pretty much a free win against Monty Oliver, who I believe lost to James Foster on his debut. Yeah, he's kind of getting thrown to the wolves again, sorry dude. Yeah, Boniek reminds me very much of Zacco, where they're pretty good at what they do. Like, not great, pretty good, but they're just very boring. He did get a good rating on this one, but I do find every time I use him and Zacco, they're the sort of two standout guys that just, yeah, not very exciting fighters. But he does get a win, and it's no real surprise. The man with no nickname himself, Sean Morrison's up next. This should be, yep, pretty straightforward. Great rating too. Second round rear naked choke finish. Wojaya will take another loss, which isn't great for him, but when you get matched up against Sean Morrison, there's not many that can hold their own. We got Lee Bold next up, who is the slight underdog, hoping to bounce back after he lost his debut. And he's got Ricardo Fernandez, the Muay Thai fighter, in his way. We'll see if he can mark his first win. He can't. Wow, it's an early finish too. A knockout kick, 45 seconds into round 1. Good rated fight for Ricardo here. He goes 2-0. Very good actually, very nice. Two guys who lost their debut. Venter, who of course stepped in on 5 days notice and lost in a fantastic rated fight too. I'm kind of rooting for him to see if he can pick up his first win. Both of these guys very young. Not great on paper, so they're not really going to amass too much, but it's a good chance for them to change their momentum. Oh wow. Another fantastic rated fight. That's 2-2 for Venter. The only difference is this time around he gets the win rather than the loss. Okay. I see you, Venter, I see you. He picks up his first pro win and invites everyone to celebrate his win at the post-show winners party. Well, speaking of Zacco, earlier in the card, we have him fighting on the same show, and he's big favourite against Greg. Poor Greg, you know, he's old, he sucks, he's basically just a punching bag at this point, yeah. Zacco, of course, doesn't finish him. Goes the whole distance, decent rated. 2-0 for Zacco. Two stand-up strikers up next. Both of them are pretty horrible. Even the youngster Trimboli's not. The less said about these two, the better. This is more just a filler. Wow, it also gets poor rating. Trimboli wins by split decision. That's actually the first poor rated fight we've had. Oh god. The Sandman himself, Rob Baines, up next. Hoping to capitalise as well. Get himself 2-0. He's got Tanaka standing in his way, who honestly... Yeah. Look, I mean, yeah. Yeah. If Rob doesn't win this, there's some issues. Yeah. Guillotine finish in round 3. He only gets a decent rating though, but another win for Rob to pile on his momentum as we build him up. This one we tried to book smart for Knox the Tornado Hurd, the Scottish man himself, who's making his debut. He's a huge favourite, but he spawns in the game as a mid-level regional. You know, early game we know we loved him. The first year in game it's key we get guys with name values to headline these shows while we build up everyone else, so we're being nice to him. He's not great, he's okay, but he should be able to get the job done, and he does. So, decent main event, which is a bit, it's not great, but we need him to win, and he does so. And he's already looking forward to the next fight. So, decent main event, decent co-main, which kind of and the poor, it kind of dampens the critical rating a little bit and dampens the fantastic rated fight, but 25,000 at the gate, which I believe is our highest. I mean, it's only going to go pretty much up and up every show, but not bad. We just about make the commercial rating. We'll probably get about 1% plus again. Yeah, so it's actually not going up fast at all, whereas our fighters' popularity is, because the commercial shows are doing a pretty good job. But yeah, fight of the night has to go to Venter for the fantastic rating. We'll also give submission to Sean Morrison because it was a great rated fight on his part, and we'll give KO, give it to Ricardo. 45-second knockout kick. And those guys, you guys enjoy your $50 bonus. You guys are welcome. 24,000 at the gate. Noxerd, of course, he comes in, makes his debut, just under 3,000. It'll help with his name value too, so overall pretty good card. We take money, we take pop, we're building up the guys. No real surprises on who won going into the next card. Well, I think after multiple times me mentioning how boring he is, I think Zacho must have overheard, and in a bit of a huff, he's been popping the pills, smoking the marijuana, and he's tested positive for recreational drugs after GFC 5. So yeah, good one, Zacho. You complete absolute idiot. Carlton and Milton to main event. Probably the most evenly matched main event we've had yet. Mantis, the old man himself, back against George, who of course got called out by Mark Cohen. George also broke his wrist in his training camp in the lead up to this. Not really sure if it'll affect his performance though. Stafford Al, who of course won with a fantastic fight on his debut. Leon Banks is back too. Nigel Malley, Mario, Jim Carpenter, Sapatov makes his debut. A lot of good guys on this one. Sapatov, the slight favourite. Jim, of course, won his debut. We're not really giving any of them an easy fight here. So it'll be a very hard earned win. And it's Jim who gets it. The slight underdog. TKO finish on round 3 to go 2-0. Wow, okay. Solid start to the card. Pretty one-sided. They were practically gifting a win to Mario to get him back on momentum, and it's probably going to be a second loss for sure. Smith, yeah. Kimura finish round 1, good rating to move Mario up to 2-1. Two guys who lost their debuts here. Nigel Malley, the big favourite, and in my eyes, I'm hoping he gets the win. We're not really going to be able to build these guys up a huge amount, but there's a lot more we can do with Nigel compared to Uglyface over here. Oh my god, he loses. Okay, never mind. TKO win. Let's just move on. The less said, the better. Same situation as a few of the fights on this card. Two okay stand-up guys in the heavyweight division, both 1-1. Trying to build up that momentum. Leon Banks is the huge favourite. Let's see if we get another huge upset. We don't. Knockout punch in round 1. Good rating to move Leon to 2-1, the same as Mario. This is pretty much just a filler match. And an easy, we're basically gifting Phil a 2-0 record to build him up. And he takes it. Round 1 TKO finish, good rating. Because Phil's really not that good, so the fact he's managed to slip through the cracks to not get thrown to the wolves like so many others is pretty funny. Alright, we had Venter, who got a fantastic rated fight, and then on his second matchup he got another fantastic. Let's see, Al can do the same. Venter, even though they went against each other on the first card. So let's see how it goes. Decent rating, so nowhere near fantastic. And it's a unanimous decision win for Stafford, pretty underwhelming. But he does go 2-0. Mac Fuller up next against the debuting the Puma Oberto. It's pretty. It's not. He's not the huge favourite, but he should be able to get the job done. Oh, only by split decision on a decent rating. So Marcelo obviously brought the smoke. Okay, it's a win though, nonetheless. All right, next up we got George, who I believe will be the first guy to go 3-0. I also think he was the first fighter to go 2-0 in the promotion. Although I don't know why, but I feel like someone's already 3-0. I'm kind of like kicking myself right now trying to remember. But nonetheless, we're trying to build him up and, of course, build Mark up, Mark Cohen, which could potentially be those two fighting for the first chance at the belt at their weight class. But he has to come over Mantis and probably a few others before then. And he does so, decent rated. Co-main event, knockout punch in round 2. So he gets the job done to go 3-0. Oh, when he brags about anyone can get those hands. George reminds me very much of Nigel Malley, where they're pretty decent standing up, but no real ground game. But they're just they can so easily knock out anyone that you can never truly write them off. I'm pretty excited for this fight, to be honest. Both of these guys are pretty decent. They're not sort of high-end heavyweight fighters, but they can hold their own. It's just a shame that the roster's so thin that we have to match up these kind of guys together so soon, and we can't build them up, which will probably be much more lenient on cutting guys because we can't really replace them just now. So if you see guys on like 0-2, 0-3, 0-4 records still fighting, even though they have no momentum, I know the penalties, you know, even if the guys who win beat the guys who are 0-4, they don't really get a huge boost. But right now we don't really have a choice. We're working with what we got. But as for the main event, it's Carlton who gets the win. It only gets a decent rating though, which isn't. We should take pop, but our critical's a bit. Could be better. But big win. Big win for Jeff to hand Harry his first ever loss. So let's have a quick peek. 40% over commercial was pretty good though. Which is, I'll take it. 28,000 to the gate. Our highest gate receipts, 1.3% in popularity increase. A lot of goods and then a decent. It's 4 for 4, I think, 5 for 4. Yeah. So we'll just we'll give fighting it to Ralph. Why not? It's probably going to be the only time he'll ever win. So just for the memes, we'll give it to him. Just for the lols. Knockout punch we'll give to George, even though it was a decent rated fight. Pretty much the only serious knockout fight or knockout finish. And submission, we have to give it to Mario. Yep, okay. That's about right. We should take a lot of money. Yeah, there was no real big players on this one. The guys who main evented are people that we've just built up and are already, you know, low mid national. So we take another 28,000. Happy days, happy days. GFC 7 up next. We got this card and then one more before the end of the year. We open up the show pretty much battle of the losers. None of these guys we have a future here. They're pretty much just used as punching bags, but Nakajima, huge favourite, gets the win. Decent rating. Let's move on. Oh, never mind, let's not move on. He takes the mic and taunts Rob Baines. Okay, we got our second call out. Okay, Nakajima. I see you. Another punching bag matchup here with Gustavo. We're hoping to get the win. And he comes through decent rating, unanimous decision. Not the best finish, but he does go 2-0. And he also calls out Sean Morrison. Okay, now we're getting the call out started. I like it, 2 for 2 on this card. Next up, heavy favourite Peter Bracewell, who lost his last fight, will want to bounce back here against Sakamoto. And Sakamoto wins. I was about to say Sakamoto is the first person on our whole roster to go 0-3, but he is not. He is beaten Iron Job Peter Bracewell in a decent rated fight, unanimous decision. Yeah, it's a big upset, but he always believed in himself, so another upset. First pro win for Bakken. Well, another punching bag fight that I pretty much hope goes the way I intend, with Cliff losing to go 0-2 in hand Fujishima. A debut pro win. Fujishima's actually not bad too. Okay, never mind. Wrong guy, I think. Huh? Who am I getting him mixed up with then? I can picture him in my head as well, but I can't picture his name. I don't even think the person I'm thinking of's debuted in the game yet, which is awkward. Let's just move on quick. Round 1 finish, good rating. At least this one all goes to plan. Unlike Sagamoto, ruining my poor boy Bracewell. Hometown boy, big favourite Walter May, hoping to go 2-0 against the debuting Seni, who's honestly... his ground game's okay. I've seen a lot worse for what's on the roster right now. And Walter May's not the best ground game, but he gets the job done. TKO finish, good rating, round 1 to keep the momentum going for the hometown man himself. 2 debuts up next, pretty evenly matched on paper, but I think Malfi Robbie's probably going to take the win. He's much more well-rounded than Itu. So I'm hoping he gets the win. He does. Nice round 3 finish, knockout knee well, which we like to see. He only gets a decent rating, but I am glad he got the win over these two. Well, it seems to be going from bad to worse for poor Jasper, who was the first guy we signed with any name value. He's probably going to be the first guy to go 0-3 since it wasn't Sakamoto. We're pretty much booking Abdul very smart to keep his name value pushing up, even though he's not. I mean, he's not bad. His ground game's pretty good, high level submission, but he's not that well rounded that he can hang with the big dogs. But he does get the job done here in a great rated fight, first round finish. So he'll go 2-0. He's also Scottish, which is a bonus. Building up the guys who are from here. And he's also calling out George Laurent. What is it with these guys not really liking George? Poor George. He's got Mark on his hit list. And now Abdul. I'll take it. The third call out of the show, which is a new record. Next up, we got the Battle of Scotland versus England. We got El Toro Valens making his debut at 18 years old. He comes in already as a low-level regional, which is pretty common now. Most of the people after the first month or second month who debut have some name value. High-level judo. It's kind of jack of all trades, master of none. Maybe not striking so much, but we'll see how he fares against Kai Collins, who's the master of striking, but sucks at everything else. You can kind of see the trend here. We've booked it in favour of El Toro to win, but Kai is one of those guys that has got pretty solid striking, but he doesn't prevail. Valens gets a debut win. He was the big favourite. Submission finish in round 3, decent rated fight as well. So yeah, it's just a start. Co-main event's pretty one-sided, although on the betting lines this is the most even fight for Matthew Dean. Everyone else, it's just, it couldn't be any more one-sided. But yeah, we don't need to say much about this. Decent rating. It goes the whole distance though, which is a bit of a surprise. Kuroki's not the worst though, even though he comes in so late. I mean, he's not the worst, but in terms of fighting Matthew Dean, it's pretty bad. But it's another win for Matthew. Only 20 years old. To imagine the work he's going to do in the middleweight, I can't even. It's disgusting. Even thinking about what he's going to destroy everyone. God damn it. God damn it, Matthew, what are you doing? Our main event has an even more one-sided bout on paper, and it's one of the kings of heavyweight, James Foster, who I believe next month or at the very start of 1990 should the promotion with Sean Morrison to do the Olympics. So this will be, in theory, the last fight he'll have for quite a while, and it's a fantastic rated main event. The first we've had. Nice, okay. Pretty one-sided, round 2 finish. I'll take it though, fantastic. That'll boost the critical huge on this card. He's also challenging Tony Mccall, who, of course, I think is 3-0. One of the only guys 3-0, 2-0. But it actually works out kind of in their favour, because the time James Foster returns, this feud should be nuclear, because it'll have been in the pipeline for like 2 years, 1 year. So that's like a guaranteed nuclear before we use it, which usually I do with all my fights anyway. I don't accept the challenges until it goes nuclear. But 78 critical. The fantastic main event saved us, because we only had one great and a decent co-main. 38 commercial, so we'll take Pop again. We gain the 1.3% in popularity as well. And we'll give Foster... Well, we can't really give him KO. You can only really get that. There wasn't actually any KO. Okay. Fight of the night goes to him. Nakajima. Nah, give it to Valance. It'll look better on its achievements, because we'll see more of Valance than we will of any of these guys. We should take roughly the same amount. Yeah, 20,000, because we had Abdul and Kai on the card, and Kai and Valance too, and Jasper White. They all take pretty big chunks. Considering that, we still took a lot of money. So it's good. It's a good positive. To end episode 2, we have our 5th and final show, which will also mark the end of our year. Our first year, which is good, because I was aiming, I believe, in episode 1 I said the aim was 5 shows, and we've managed to squeeze in 8. So I'll take it. A lot of fights on this card. My boyfriend Go Yamamoto is back. We have the debut of Hassan Fezik, someone that'll be he'll basically be on watch of the heavyweight division while James Foster's going. This guy's a freak, an absolute freak. We also just signed Yamada of the light heavyweight division, who's also another freak, absolute monster. Rob Baines is in action too. He's fighting Jerizo, both guys solid in the 185 class. Tony Mccall, he's back in action to end the year. Who else? We got Gorshin as well, Gunnar Nelson, Frank Analysis is back. Let's be on with this. This one's pretty much just to build up Frank, and yep, great rated armbar finish. And Boder will go 0-2 with this. He also calls out Tony Mccall. There seems to be a theme. They seem to all be calling out the same people per weight class. I guess if you want to call someone out, you call it the guy who's got all the momentum. Glenn Pym to make his debut here against 0-2 Tanaka, and he picks up the win. Poor rated fight, which isn't great, but Tanaka goes 0-3, which is also, yeah, now his render's making a lot of sense. I would be frustrated too. Okay, huge favourite. Yep, Gunnar Nelson, great rated, second round finish to go 2-0. And Han Barry's second loss, great rating, I'll take it as well. Gunnar Nelson ends the year in a bang. Lucky for Ito on this card, we're pretty much handing him a free win, and he takes it as well. It goes to decision, decent rating, but he stays unbeaten. And poor Russo is just, he's one of the many punching bags we have right now, which is just, it isn't great. It's not really the way I like to play, but it's just the way we need to. You know, we can't really afford to hire loads of people, because there's just not many right now. So just as time gets on, it'll play out itself a little better. Huge favourite Gorshin, no real surprise. Great rated fight too, rear naked choke to go 2-0. It was the huge favourite though. Poor Setio is yet another player to fall victim to a 0-3 record. Oh wow. Okay. This one's just really a filler match. Aston should get a first win though, and he doesn't. He loses. Average rated, decision finish. Okay. I don't really mind though. It's just, like I said, filler match, nothing more. Yeah, big upset. Well done. This should be another card here. No surprises. A knockout knee finish in round 1, great rating. Oh, Yamamoto. One of the few to hit 3-0 by the end of year 1. And he's also calling out Sean Morrison. Wow. Okay. poor Rochev is getting thrown, absolutely throwing in the deep end here against the debuting Fezzik, which, yeah, round 1 finish. Good rating as well. Fezzik's going to be on command while Foster's gone. And also, speaking of the Sean Morrison callouts between Gorshin and Go Yamamoto, they'll also hit nuclear because Morrison will be gone while Foster's going to do the Olympics, so that's also a big plus. Co-main event, we got 2 kickboxers, both unbeaten. Mboli, 18 years old, against Mccall, which is the huge favourite, and everyone seems to have a big target on the back of his head right now. And so they should keep that momentum going, because he's knocked out Trimboli in under 40 seconds in round 1. What a end of the year for Mccall. Good rated fight. Gets the job done. 3-0. Another fighter that can reach 3-0 at the end of the year is Rob Baines here. He is the favourite, but out of all the fights, he's got the hardest opponent in Jerizo, who of course won his debut against Goji. 28 years old, he's really not bad. He's pretty well rounded. This will be I think Rob will win, but it shouldn't be an easy fight for him. And he does, also gets a great rating. 3rd round submission. Jerizo picks up the first loss, but to lose to someone like Rob Baines, it's not so bad, to be honest. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of Jerizo, a lot more wins for him. But Rob Baines hits 3-0 too, along with Go Yamamoto and Tony Mccall. We take 33,000 at the gate, which is pretty big bang to end the year. With a lot more great rated fights on this card too, compared to the last one, 1.5% in popularity, which is, I think, the biggest shift over one show, which is very good. Fight of the night we'll give it to Rob. He had the hardest opponent, and it was a main event. He managed to get great. Submission of the night. Yeah, well, you know what? We're going to give it to Rob too. Because yet again, he had the hardest opponent, so it makes the most sense. Even though Gorshin's fight was great too. And knockout we'll give to Go Yamamoto, because I love him. Okay, that one's done. 32,000. No one takes over even $500. Never mind like 1,000, 2,000, like a few of our guys are on. That's a huge, probably the best show to end the year in terms of taking pop and taking money. So it's a good way to go forward, which we will do next episode as well. And if I don't know if the end of year awards will have filled out, but if they have, I'll try and remember and run over them next episode to start it off.